Hey guys, Stony Redneck here today. I got a lot to go over today, so I'll try to make it as quick as I can. First thing is I ended up finally making the trellis I've been talking about for my grapevines. What it did was just mounted, it's actually the my old porch. You can see where I took the boards out. It used to be railing for my porch, but reused it for this, put some chicken wire on the top of it. I'm ultimately going to run my grates that you can see right up here, just run them up, a couple of them that way, a couple of them that way, and then circle them back. That way they have plenty of room. That's about, I don't know, 15 feet or so to go back and forth, so I think that should be enough, and I'll cut them off after that. But these are looking good now. I want to make sure they keep growing. Idea is that the fruit will fall down through the chicken wire. I can just crawl around here underneath it and pick it off or whatnot, whatever I need. I got rid of a lot of the clippings. They were mostly just for test. Just wanted to see if I could do it, what worked best. I got a pretty good idea what works and what doesn't now. I actually kept two of the squash plants. I'm going to run them in here. I seem to be able to keep things over winter in the aquaponic side, I guess just because the water stays so hot. But I want to keep those plants, so if nothing else, I have a way to start them again next year if they don't survive over here. I got a lot of good looking squash over here, just waiting for it to ripe. This one actually scares me. I've never grown squash before, so I don't know if it's going to be able to hold it. That's a pretty heavy squash there, just held by that right over concrete. So I fully expect coming out here one day to it just being busted on the floor. But until it does, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let the vine try to do it. Another thing here, I keep getting tons of tomatoes out of this. Wife loves me for it. But this here, I'm still struggling. I think maybe, just maybe, I finally got that one pollinated, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, I got that one pollinated. But we'll find out here in a couple of days, see if it actually grows some fruit. Hopefully it does. Everything else looking good. Here's something that happened over the week since the last video. Had a lot of cucumbers on this vine. I never even considered about the weight of those cucumbers, and I didn't do a really good job of making sure the trellis was holding the weight instead of the vine, and the vine snapped off most all the cucumbers with it, although there were a handful that I got to keep that were ripe. But these were the only two that were left that weren't above that broken area, so I did keep them up. What I've decided to do is actually restart the vine from the bottom and get a fresh one. I didn't like how the leaves were looking. They all kind of looked like that right there. I think that's white mildew. It's got a name. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but it's got a name. But I think that's what that is, and it just eventually the plant dies and whatnot. But so starting a new vine here, and then I also took the cucumber that I had here and put it out of the pot and stuck it right here. So now I have two cucumber plants there. This one actually worked great. That's what I was trying to see, is if I could. I've always had a problem trying to get things I started in aquaponics to stay okay when you put it in dirt. So this is actually, that's why I tried the little pots right there in the aquaponics, keep them really good and moist, and that seemed to work great because this plant looks good. It didn't shrivel at all. You couldn't even tell it wasn't started right here, as good as it looks. So I'm gonna run both of them there, and I got one other little vine right here that I'm gonna run up. So I have 3 vines of cucumbers running up, which should be plenty for me, no more than we eat. These things still look great. I'm still just letting them grow mad crazy and let them go. This is actually one of the pepper plants. I don't expect this to work. I just shits and giggles decided to stick it in there and see what would happen. Everything else is looking okay. Got the hornworm got a hold of my broccoli, which is coming back, but it also got a hold of my kale, which doesn't look as good. Doesn't look like it's coming back. This is that green pepper plant. I went ahead and took green peppers off and ate them. They were actually delicious, but I don't know about this plant. I mean, it's not dying all the way, but it certainly don't look healthy. Okra looks magnificent. Let me back up so you can see the whole thing. I mean, it looks great. The squash, I am a little concerned because it's kind of getting that same mess with the leaves, and some of these leaves are really getting in a bind and dying off. So I'm going to cut them off. Really just want the squash to ripen, and when they do, I've got another vine that I started way down at the bottom that I'm going to run up and just cut the old vines out and then let it start some new vines. I also have these two squash plants. I may actually take them and plant them in there as well, because this side I don't have any good suckers coming up. I've got this one little one that's been there for a while, but it's not seeming to take off, so I may end up cutting this all the way off there, just running that one vine there and then putting one of those others just right beside it and let it grow up too. This, I did a little work. The one little pepper plant died on me, so I moved it, and I'm gonna try to start an eggplant, although this eggplant didn't do well. I do have some eggplant over there that I'm trying to start too, that hopefully between the two of them I can get something started. Then I got all my tomatoes. I changed this up. We don't really like these cherry tomatoes as much, so I decided to just keep one plant of that, and then started 3 clippings, one of which, or 2 of which even, are doing great. One is a little slow, but I imagine it'll catch up. And then I did put one of the cucumbers up here to let it grow. Outside of that, I don't know that I got much going on, so I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below, and I'll do what I can to answer them. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.